We are going to be rebuilding a former Premier League club and FA Cup winner that has lost its way in recent years. Back when I started watching the Premier League in early 2004, 2005, Portsmouth used to be one of the Premier League regulars that year, and they had some key players like Jermaine Defoe. I remember Suleiman Tari's also played for Portsmouth at some point, even Peter Crouch was at Portsmouth. But in recent years, they've kind of fallen away out of the Premier League, and maybe they had financial problems and they've gone all the way down into the lower leagues. Our challenge for this review is to actually bring Portsmouth back into the Premier League and establish them as a Premier League club. If we win a cup trophy here and there, it will also be nice. I've paused it here mid-season, and looking at the season preview, we're predicted to finish dead last in the league, 24th at 250 odds to 1, and it's going out that way. As we can see, we've lost a lot of games this season, and to be honest, I've used a sort of tactics that I didn't really enjoy. I'm not really a big fan of the 4-2-3-1, but it's not really working out for us here, and if we continue like this, we might just get sacked. So we just recently lost to Preston 3-2. We're scoring goals, but we're conceding way too many goals. And then we go over to the data hub just to see how bad it could be. We are keeping 2 clean sheets, or we've only kept 2 clean sheets, but we've conceded 2.18 goals per game. So we have a lot of fixing to do. We have a lot of work to do in the defensive aspect of our game. We are the worst team in the league, but honestly, this performance isn't going well. I know that the championship is a lot harder than all the other leagues. And looking at the league table right now, we see that Middlesbrough are currently sitting in first place. They've only lost 4 times, but then if you scroll all the way down, you're going to see Portsmouth down there in 19th. We have minus 6 goal difference and then only 23 points. So we have a lot of fixing to do in the league right now. We've already been knocked out on the Carabao Cup, and we're still in the FA Cup. So we have a game against Salford. That could be a game that can actually help us turn around. It's coming up the 6th on January. Yep, date of that fixture is 6th of January. So that could be a really good turning point for us. Before we meet Salford, we're going to meet other clubs like Middlesbrough, Millwall, Burnley, and Sunderland. So this is an interesting week for us. In case we don't get sacked, we're going to hope we don't get sacked at this point. So this is the system that I started off with. I thought it was going to help us be more solid defensively, but it didn't really turn out as much. So I'm going to go ahead, or let's say I went ahead to make some subtle tweaks to the system, and this is what we're going to be using from now on. I'm going to attack. We're going to ask the 2 fullbacks to attack, and then I'm going to keep the defensive midfielders, and I'm also going to drop the mentality to positive. Even at some point, I think I'm going to go to a balanced mentality just for the next few games to see how that actually goes. So just before we jump into the Middlesbrough game, I'm looking at Michael Carrick's manager profile and looking at what he tends to do. He likes to play intense pressing and intense counter pressing, so we're going to try to avoid playing out from the back in this game. He also prefers to use the 4-2-3-1 system by default, but he has an attacking system of 4-2-4 DM wide. So this is just the off the top of my head what I'm going to work with, and then going for the, where is this? Data hub, just to see how things are going. Looking at the opposition's performance, they tend to play possession based style of play, so we're just going to try to stop them from playing their passing game, and that's pretty much it. Looking at all these other key findings, we're going to try and use that to help us in the game against Portsmouth. So let's see how this first game of our redemption plan is actually going to go against Middlesbrough. They are one of the best teams in the land right now. Okay, we've already got a corner. This might help us actually get in there. Hold on, here's Lane with the corner. Oop, headed away. McIntyre back to Lane, out to Bishop. He was able to get a shot, but it was blocked. Here's Pack, out to Rafferty. Plays it out wide to Ogilvy, out to Sean Grace. Oh, there's Bishop on space. That's fantastic. 1-0 up. We still have to try and hold on in this game. Let's get real now. Here's Rafferty, out to McIntyre. Pack, out to Bishop. Oh, lovely ball to Camera. Tries to play in Robertson, 2-0. Let's go ahead and praise our performance. At this point, I expect Middlesbrough to actually come all guns blazing. Once they score their second goal, they tend to be more attacking the AI. There it is. Oh, nope. Good defense. Come on, Robertson. What's he doing? What's he doing? We're still in this game with a shout. It's 2-1, by the way. So let's see how the game opportunity is to unfold. Ogilvy. Middlesbrough's pressing is intense. Great ball. Out to Lane. He scores. Jesus. Funny Lane. Hold on. Here's one more chance before the first half is over. Ogilvy, can he take a shot? Ooh, off the post. Cleared away. Half time. We've been able to survive for the first half. We have only 41% possession, which is really small, but I'm happy that we're leading the game. We have to go ahead and play a cautious mentality now for the entirety of the second half. Let's just get into the dressing room and try to get everybody pumped up, because what an amazing first half we have had so far. Out to Greenwood. Oh, he's made a mistake. Bishop is in on goal. Can he score? Yes, he makes it. Goal number 4. What a loose pass by Middlesbrough. Bloody hell. Here's Middlesbrough again, trying their best to try and get back in this game. Clark. Going out wide. Can somebody block him? Ogilvy, don't. Very good clearance. Stop him at source. Nope, nobody was able to do anything. Sam Greenwood got a goal. Oh, Greenwood is in again. Goal number 3. Oh my god. I'm going back to the balanced mentality. Why is Cautious inviting a lot more goals? Come on. Thomas. Where's my defense? My goodness. It cannot be this bad, man. Come on. I'm going back to a balanced mentality. So switching to a cautious mentality invited 2 more goals, but we were able to score 1. The game ended 4-3. We've been able to beat Middlesbrough, the team that is top of the table, by 4 goals to 3. That is an amazing shout for us, to be honest. Let's get on to the next game and see how the following fixtures go, if we can revive our career from here. We've jumped up all the way to 17th place now with -5 goal difference, but we need to shore up our defense now and try to concede less goals in the second half and focus a lot more on trying to score a lot more goals like we did in this game against Middlesbrough. So the rebuild continues. Let's look at our squad and see how everybody is doing. Most of my players need in a kind of uplift in momentum and morale, to be honest. Our highest goal scorer is Kobe Bishop. He's got an amazing goal. He has 14 goals already. Alex Robinson is in there in second place. Looking at the players that have the assists, Bishop himself also has up to 6 assists. So he's our key player in this team, even though he's not complete 5-star. I need to just take a look at this guy's ability. He's an exceptional player. I'm going to want to keep him, to be honest. We survived the game against Millwall away from home, scoring 2 goals and not conceding any. We also had a 40% ball possession. Millwall actually had all of the ball, and I tried my best to try and help us have more possession, but it didn't really work out. I'm kind of okay with that. The game actually turned out well. We played well, we got all 3 points and the clean sheet. Now, our goal conceding problems actually continued in the game against Burnley. We lost 3-1 at home. They had a late penalty. Even though we scored first and it seems like we were in control of the game, at some point it kind of fizzled out and went away from us. Sander Berge got the last goal in the 68th minute just to cement the victory, and at that point I kind of zoned out from the game and I wasn't happy with that performance. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I hope that we can do better in the coming fixtures, and we're trying to prepare and get that momentum up for that Salford game, because I know Salford is a smaller team, but we have to win that game because it helps us get our momentum up and, you know, be in a good mood for the remaining of the season. No way Vincent Kompany said that I'm doing a very good job. Come on, mate. You're just stroking my ego right now. No. Don't do that, Company. Don't do that. This whole time, I never really looked at our situation financially, and then I see that we have a transfer budget of £50,000 only to spend in the championship. Come on, we have a lot of work to do in this save, to be honest. Our wage budget is just 6,000 per week, but I can see that we're spending 133 out of 139 that is allocated for the wage budget, and we have only 50k transfer fee. We do have to sell a lot of players before we can even start thinking about buying players. But for now, we have to worry about, or for now, we have to just try and get players on a free transfer, to be honest. And even till then, because you have to pay their salaries, we're going to have to try and lower that down. And first of all, focus on selling players before we can try buying some players. Now, the Sunderland game was a lot better because we went to go down via a penalty. Sunderland actually scored that, and then immediately we got the equalizer, and we held on to actually go ahead and score a second goal just before halftime, and then we continued to hold on to try and win the game 2-1. Defensively, we did quite well here, so I think we're prepared for the Salford game now. We should not be able to lose that game because I think it helps us going forward, and let's see how actually that game goes. And despite all our preparations for this Salford game, we ended up drawing the game 2-2. So since it's an FA Cup tie, we're going to have to meet Salford again away from home. Hopefully we can go ahead and win that one. But that's by the way. We're just going to find a way and go to the end of the season now to see if any of our fixes has actually helped the team. We'll see how far that actually goes. And remember that for our first season in the championship, we're actually supposed to survive against relegation. We are currently at 30 points, which is 7 points off the relegation zone. Hopefully we're not going to get dragged into a relegation battle. So let's see how the rest of the season goes. So we've gone through the season now, and we ended up finishing in 15th place with -9 goal difference and 58 points. So we've survived relegation in our first season. That's good, and we can figure out how we can start building the club now and start pushing for promotion to try and get into the Premier League. If you look at our finances so far, we've been able to earn 4.3 million, and out of the 50k that we saw last time, 4.3 million is actually enough for me to sign some quality free players. So now the first season is officially over, and like we said, we actually survived in the league. And what's next for us now is actually look at our transfers, and we've actually spent a lot more money, but then I realized that I'm not actually the one that spent all this money. The club actually had predetermined transfers that were going to conclude. Like some of our players like Callum Lang, they were already on loan at the club, so it's almost like at the end of the season they were going to join permanently. So those are the players that I have here. I think another player is Anthony Scully and Terry Devlin. My goalkeeper as well, Matt Macy, if you remember him, he is also coming in on the free transfer. So as you can see, so it's not a permanent deal. Transfers out only like 63k. And then if you look at the club's finances, we can see that we've spent a little bit of money to try and renovate the club and try to get some training facilities done, and that's where we're going to be right now. But as it is, we're going to move on to the second season and see how well we do. So after our second season in the championship, we finished in 7th place, narrowly missing out on promotion. We had 71 points, and the team that snuck into the promotion places was Bristol City. They had 72. We had a better goal difference, but that didn't matter. I think I'm okay with it. Staying in the championship right now, we can actually go ahead and rebuild our squad, not just the squad. We can also go ahead and rebuild the team. If you look at the club vision as it is right now, everything is going well. We're kind of becoming a championship team. But what I want to do is to go into the club info and then try to improve these training facilities and coaching academy and youth recruitment, everything that is in here. It should give us time to actually become a stronger team than in the championship, so that in case we actually get promoted, we won't have any trouble staying in the Premier League. So I'm going to just spend most of that money rebuilding the squad and making it a lot better, rebuilding the club facilities and making them really, really good. Now, our third season in the championship was slightly more disappointing. We are currently in 17th place, and to me, the season is slightly over because nothing much you can do right now. So I kind of just took that break to try and improve the squad or the club a little bit, and you can see that the team or the board has actually agreed to work on a youth facilities development. So I've gone also to get some staff into the team. I know I've gone on to add a head of youth development in Jonathan Pepe. He is absolutely stacked if you look at his attributes, judging player ability and potential, also working with youngsters all 20. So he's going to be our new head of youth development. I also brought on John Marshall as a scout. He's going to act like our chief scout or second scout. And then Julian Ward, I've had my eye on him for a while now. I wanted to get him as a scout, but he's better off as a director of football. So I got him to come in as a director of football for the team. That's going to help us build the team for the future, because I noticed that in order to get through the championship, from the championship into the Premier League, we're going to need to build a very strong team, and that's what we're going to use the championship to do. I did hope that we'll get promoted sooner, but we haven't gotten promoted, so we can use that time to actually build the club and get them to be a lot stronger. And then you can see that currently Everton are the league leaders. They might end up winning the league, and there are also other teams in there, Leeds United and Crystal Palace. They could fight for promotion. In order for us to compete with these guys, we look at Palace, look at their stats as club reputation, and then if you look at our club info, we are not, we're kind of far off from where Crystal Palace is and the likes of Everton. So we need to get our club to this level if we want to actually push for the Premier League and stay there. So that's going to be the plan for the next season in the championship. We're going to try to do well and stay in the championship, not finish 17th, or possibly try to get into that promotion places and see how that goes. Now, our new director of football might has given us some wonder kids that we could work with. There's Sammy Coburn here. He has a 5-star potential, to be honest, but his pace is not very good. He's a central defender, so we can actually work on his quickness. He already has marking of 9, which is quite good, so we can just go ahead and train him. We have some other 5-star players here that came in from the youth academy. John O'Donovan is another one. He's a very good winger. He has some level of pace at 13. You can obviously go ahead and improve that. He's currently 15 years old. And then we have Alex Legg over here, DM, solid defensive midfielder. Very good passing, which also makes me look at him like a playmaker, but we have to improve his vision, of course, and his quickness. So the other players that are in here, James Boone and Constantino, I've gone on to send them or give them contracts of like 2 years or 3 years plus. Try to get them and secure them into the team. All these other players, I might just have to keep an eye on them as they're not so great. So these are like my top 3 players are going to be above Colbrand, Legg and O'Donovan, as well as Boone and Constantino and also Mazzoni. So these are the players that we're going to work with. Right now the season is basically over. We're still teasing the board with some facilities, but then I noticed it's not really important right now because we don't have the money to always keep improving facilities. What we can do is try to literally get promoted. That is literally the only thing we can do right now, just get promoted. Now, after refusing to give me better youth recruitment in the last few seasons, the board has finally requested if we have a sit down and talk about improving the youth recruitment. So I'm happy about that. We can go ahead and attend that interview and ensure that yes, it is a great idea to actually invest in improving our youth system, because I feel we need a lot of players and we don't have a lot of money to actually buy more players. So I would want to invest in youth and then use my youth players. Looking at the youth development, it doesn't really look so good. Looking at our under 18, I told you about the other players like Sammy Colbrand and John O'Donovan. They are starting to improve now. One is 16, the other is still 15 years old, and I hope that we can turn them into regular starters this season because we don't have any players that we can actually work with. So these guys are going to have to step up. Our first game of the season is already underway. We can see that we have a chance to play in the under-21s league. We don't have a lot of players to actually do this. I've gone on to try and make some signings, like Rhys Williams is coming into the squad now as a free transfer. I don't know why. Okay, he wasn't even playing for any particular club, so it's going to be our one signing this season. I've gone on to make other signings on a free transfer. Even Jensen, his move has been delayed for a while. He's also on free transfer, but I do hope that he comes into the club. And I'm having some friendly proposals here from Lazio and the rest. We'll see how this second season actually goes, but those are the players that I've gone on to sign. And the situation at the club right now, like I mentioned, we don't have a lot of players actually work with. Hopefully my having those young players, 16 years old, coming through might actually help us this season. We'll see. Now, we've tried our best to get promoted. It's already 2027 and it's really difficult to actually get promoted from this league. We finished in 12th place this time around. Leeds United, Hull City and Middlesbrough got promoted. But if you look at our club info right now, we actually have the most exceptional academy youth coaching in the league. We currently have 20 and all our facilities are currently improving steady like that, as you can see. So I think despite the fact that we're still in here, we're kind of getting better as a club. So at some point we should be able to get promoted. I hope that's next season because I'm really tired of the championship right now. Despite everything, the club is still happy with the way we're going. We're currently on course and they're pleased with our reputation. Everything is going well. We're making the most of our set pieces, playing attacking football, high tempo pressing football, because that is what works in Football Manager, to be honest. But I'm going to try to figure out how we can steadily get our way into promotion. Maybe our attacking approach is not really helping us because we're conceding so many goals. If you look at the data hub, you can see that our performance, we're scoring like 2.2 goals per game. But if you look at the amount of goals conceded, we've conceded 1.87, which to me is not very good. But I get that we're trying to attack, so we might just try to play a more balanced approach this time and see what happens if we can concede less goals and hopefully stay or try to get promoted from the championship into the Premier League. Now, I have made a lot of signings for next season, including Chelsea's goalkeeper Lucas Bergstrom. He's one of the goalkeepers I actually get to. I think he's the only person that I've spent money on in this particular transfer window, but most of my signings have actually come from free transfer. I have a player here in Owen Goodman as a backup goalkeeper. He's coming in on the free. We're only paying 10k for him, and that's actually coming out of our 750k budget. So I think I spent most of the money on salaries. But if you look at transfers right now and then look at maybe transfer history, most of these players are coming on the free except Lucas Bergstrom. There's still some in the works that we're actually going to wait for. All of them are going to be coming on the free transfer. We're spending absolutely no money on them. Hopefully this is going to help us retain our reputation. I also got a message that Portsmouth as a club, we've actually improved our reputation. You can see here Portsmouth enjoys small reputation, but just very small, which is good for me because that is the plan. And I think for us to stay in the Premier League, we have to increase our reputation step by step. The board has also agreed to allow me to study for the Continental Pro License coaching course, so that's also good. We're actually slowly growing as a bigger club. It's taking longer than I expected, but I think that's how difficult rebuilds can be if you're going a bit realistic in this one. Just to confirm the number of signings we've made, there are 11 players in total, and most of them are B- signings, so they're kind of good for the team. And if you scroll down, I start to see some of the C+ signings, but looking at everybody, I think I have fullbacks, wingers, and normal strikers, attacking midfielders, defensive midfielders, and of course, like I mentioned, fullbacks and wingbacks. So now we are back on the 22nd of May 2028. This is 4 seasons after we actually started this save, and you would not believe the kind of season we just had. Now, a lot has improved at the club since I actually started this save. If you look at the club info right now, we currently have excellent training facilities in 16, excellent youth facilities in 16, academic coaching is up to 20, and we also have good youth recruitment in 15. Portsmouth are now somewhat a big club, and if you look at the season schedule that we had and you just scroll all the way up, it was actually very difficult at the beginning, to be honest. I was using an attacking mentality at some point, but you can see the fixture results here. We weren't winning that many games. It was really difficult to actually attack teams, even though I felt we were one of the weaker teams in the division. I felt like if we attack, we'll be able to take the game to the opposition, but that didn't really work out. We were just winning a few games against Oxford and Blackburn Rovers, but then it was very difficult. At some point after the turn of January, I just made up my mind that I was going to take over the save because the attacking mentality wasn't really working. I had to just ditch the attacking mentality and start playing with the balance and even a more cautious mentality towards the ending of the season. And you're going to see that as the season continued to get towards the end, I think at the point when we were playing against Ipswich and Birmingham, we started getting some wins, a stretch of victories over there. We beat Sunderland, we beat Luton, we Huddersfield, Preston, Cardiff. We did get the odd defeat against Sheffield Wednesday, but overall this led us into promotion places. And in our first game against Sunderland, we actually played a cautious mentality in this game and we ended up winning the game 2-0. We scored very early from Abu Kamara, and early in the second half, Katongo got a second goal for us. The second leg was not very good as well. You notice even though we started with a cautious mentality, it was very difficult to actually keep Sunderland at bay. They scored 3 unanswered goals, scored the first one very early from Nsimbambi. He scored the first goal and the second one in the 21st minute, and then Patrick Roberts got a 93rd minute goal very late in the game as well. And you can see there, just at the 111th minute, went on to score another goal that helped us get the game to penalties. And it was on penalties that we're able to get the edge over Sunderland and actually proceed to the final. In the final, we played against Ipswich Town and then we won 3-2 in that game. It wasn't very easy as well. You notice that we actually scored first. Ipswich went on to equalize the game, went on and made it 2-1. They went again and equalized the game again, and it was very difficult. And at some point, we had to find a way to get the final goal. Christian Seydi went on to score in the 82nd minute. I think that was enough for us to go extra defensive, and then it helped us see out the game and go ahead and win the final and the playoffs and get promoted to the Premier League. As you can see here, we've gone on to secure promotion to the Premier League by beating Ipswich by 3-2. And then if you look at the league table, we actually finished in 4th place, losing 15 times. That's to show you how difficult the league was. Everybody else above us actually lost like 7 or 6 or 9 games. Even the teams that below us actually lost less games than we did. But I think we won enough games to actually get into the promotion conversation, and we were able to actually secure promotion alongside Burnley and Crystal Palace, which were the eventual champions. Wow, I just looked at this and noticed that we had the most goals in the league. Everton in second. So we scored the highest amount of goals. That's very, very good. But we're here to look at player stats, just to look at the player overview and see Max Lowe had the most assists. I'm going to have to find a way to keep him. Most goals was Joby Bellingham, and he's playing for Crystal Palace. They are also getting promoted, so we can't touch him. Haji Wright is also getting promoted, so we're not going to touch him. We can see Jordan Bouzouak. Jordan Bouzouak is a 19-year-old 5-star player from Huddersfield. On loan from PSV, that's an interesting player. You can go ahead and put him on scout list. He's a player that we're going to want to have in our squad. See if we can get him in on loan from PSG and then bring him in. Now, our first game of the new Premier League season comes against Chelsea. We had a good preseason somewhat, but funny enough, Bergstrom is playing against his old club. I remember signing him from Chelsea. Here's Devlin recovering possession for us. Trying to play out, he can't. Please don't make mistake about that. Kukurea is in possession. Out to Boya. They see our Boya. Denzel Dumfries gets the first goal for Chelsea. 11 minutes in. Another set piece for Chelsea. Oh my goodness, what is going on? Joel. Bergstone goes ahead to make the save. Here's Dumfries again in possession. Out to Reece James. Ooh, 2. Seems like we have our first chance now. Kamara out to Low. Create something, buddy. Kamara, lovely ball, 1-0. We've got a, it's not 1-0, it's 2-1. We've got our first goal in the Premier League. And who does that goal go to? Edwards. That is fantastic. Wait, what? Yes, given. Oh my god, we've got a player injured. Faustino Anjorin. We have to actually get a replacement in there. CD, can he play as a number 10? His passing isn't so great, but he has some good vision. I've got Finn Welch in here, which is a better passer and a player with better vision. So we're going to just have Finn Welch come in and do the cleanup job for us. Oh, we seem to be growing into the game now. Oh, we've lost possession there. Reece James. What position is Reece James playing? He seems very narrow. Oh, lovely save by Bergstrom. It was offside anyway. So the first half has not been very kind to us. We're losing 3-1 right now at Chelsea, but it's a newly promoted team against one of the very best teams in the Premier League. So we're just going to try and stay in the game. Well, funny enough, I said that we're delighted with our performance and my team is happy because I think we're playing well. It's just that Chelsea is really like leagues above us right now. So I'm going to go ahead and play on a cautious mentality and then switch my fullbacks. Instead of playing on attack, they're going to play on support DT now. And that's the only change I'm going to go ahead and make and continue the second half and hope that things actually work out or it doesn't get worse. It might get worse. Here's Reece James with a free kick. That was wonderful save by Bergstrom. We had a miraculous comeback after I went on to skip the game to the end. We ended up drawing the game 3-3 against Chelsea. Can you imagine that? Terry Devlin got a goal for us in the 70th minute, and then Finn Welch, the substitute that I brought on, got the late equalizer in the 84th minute. So in our first game against Chelsea, we drew 3-3. Can you imagine that? This season is going to be exciting. We have gotten our first win of the season, but it's not in the Premier League. We got our first win in the Carabao Cup first round against Reading, a comfortable 3-0 victory, and I'm kind of happy with that. I think we can go forward now and try to just see how the season goes towards maybe January, and then much later we'll get to the end of the season to see how the team actually handles the new difficulty of the Premier League. So we're here towards the ending of the season, and I have to be completely honest with you, this by far is the most difficult Football Manager save I have ever played. Even when I started playing Football Manager, it wasn't this difficult. So you notice that with Portsmouth now, we are currently 19th on the table. We've played 34 games, we have minus 24 goal difference, and we have 24 points. 24 points, I think that's doing us justice, to be honest. It hasn't been a very easy season. I've gone between playing attacking mentality and also playing the cautious and balanced and defensive mentality. And I think I've had better joy playing the defensive mentality, and it's been so frustrating trying to beat other teams. We are one of the weakest teams in the league, and for the first time in Football Manager, I'm actually seeing what that feels like firsthand. You can't really get points against anybody. I know we got a point against Southampton. I had to figure out how to win this game 4-1, and it kind of worked out well playing it a 4-1-3-2 system. It kind of really worked quite well for us. But after that, against Newcastle, we got beat. We got beat against Liverpool and Aston Villa. Most of these other teams are way above Portsmouth right now, and to me it's by far one of the most difficult saves I've ever played. But that is how the rebuild has gone so far. We've been able to get into the Premier League, but staying in the Premier League has been a huge problem, and we probably need to make better signings. I know the board told us to play possession football and attacking football. Jokes aside, that didn't actually work out anyway. I had to change it in order to start getting results, and then we were able to get some wins against some teams, and especially against Crystal Palace and of course Southampton and Wolves. I remember we beat Wolves just when we played a defensive mentality, and it worked out. It didn't work out against Tottenham. We played a very good game, but then they ended up scoring just a one goal, and then we got beat. Manchester United, it didn't work out in that game. Got a point. I've got 3 points against Crystal Palace, and then against Brighton we played very well. Again, ended up losing 2-0. Even though we played well, their 2 goals came in the 90th minute, so we held on defensively for like the entire 90 minutes, and then they scored 2 goals in the 90th minute. That's just really, really frustrating. It's kind of why I'm tired of the save right now. Looking at the way the points are, we could survive, but it's almost like it's a very, very slim chance right now because of the team that we're going to go ahead and play through. And I know we've beaten Southampton and then Burnley. We actually lost to Hull City, which was a problem. So yeah, that's kind of how it has been so far. We might get relegated, and if I go ahead to continue playing the save, yeah, we could come back from the Championship into the Premier League. But right now it's been very, very difficult, so I will need to take a break from it. And we've done well so far getting into this position. So now that we're relegated, we have to go back to the Championship and try to find our way back. Hopefully it's going to be easier this time, but it's just something we have to find out and see what happens. And indeed, yes, we went on to win the Championship in our first attempt after coming back from the Premier League as a relegated club. And even though we won the Championship, this wasn't actually my biggest achievement in this particular year of the rebuild. If you look at our schedule so far, or before we even get to that, if you look at the Championship as a whole, whereas the club competitions, if you head over to the Championship and then see the season preview, you can see that, well, we were predicted to finish somewhere around 19th before. We did so well throughout the season, and then we got the prediction of finishing 8th, but we went on to win the league completely. We have one more game to go. We've lost 7 times. We have 98 points. We could still get 100 points with this. But that's by the way. I noticed that I switched from a 4-3-3 to I switched from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-3-3. So I think that sort of helped us in the Championship because the board said that they wanted to play possession football and attacking football. We couldn't give them that in the Premier League because we're not one of the best teams, and I was just doing 4-2-3-1. It didn't really help out. So playing possession football now in the Championship, it helped us get good results and then win the competition completely. But like I said, that wasn't our biggest achievement. If we go back to the competition stab, yeah, you can see that we got knocked out in the FA Cup, and then we didn't really expect to have a cup run, but it looked like we're going to have a cup run. The final is between Manchester United and Brighton. But if you look at the semi-final, we played against Brighton in the semi-final. We made it all the way to the semi-final of the FA Cup. And if you look at that fixture, it wasn't a very, very easy fixture for us. We got a red card at some point in the 26th minute. So we had to play the entire game with 10 men. And then Brighton went ahead to score. I know that I used a balanced and cautious mentality for this game, considering that Brighton is a Premier League side. We held on for a while, and then in the 65th minute, Lorenzo Pirola got the first goal for them, and then Evan Ferguson got the second goal. At that point, we weren't really able to defend much, to be honest, and it was game over. So I was kind of happy with that because I was surprised we got all the way to the semi-final, and it was an interesting game altogether, just to see how we can punch above our weight, because we'll have to meet Brighton next season in the Premier League. Looking at the transfers that we did spend a lot of money in the Championship this time compared to other seasons. You can see that we have no transfers out. That's because most of the players actually left on the free transfer. Another player I think that wanted to leave was my goalkeeper, Bergstrom, that was from Chelsea, but he ended up staying because nobody was interested in him. And if you look at our transfers in, we got a few players here. Alex Kirk from Carlisle United for 2 million. The other players were on the free transfer, one from Arsenal, 2 from Spurs. Lucas Bergvall was the guy that got the red card in the FA Cup semi-final. He has been an immense contributor for us this season. Lovely player. Marlon Joseph from Bournemouth, 5 million from him. I feel actually it was spent for that guy. Then there's Kemal Ashley from Fulham, 1.4 million. Altogether, it was worth it. We had a good season. We're back in the Prem now. So we have to try and prepare for the Premier League. And this time, hopefully, we can stay up. And I think I'm going to stick to a 4-3-3 system. Maybe have a 4-4-2 by the side, to be honest. But I may not try the 4-2-3-1 anymore. It didn't really help us last season. So let's see how the next season actually goes when we're in the Prem. So after our first 2 games in the Premier League, we see that currently we're sitting in 12th place. We've got a 1-0 win against Leeds United, my favorite club by the way. So, but that was okay. We actually went on to lose to Aston Villa 2-1. So I feel this particular season, I don't want to simulate most of the games. I'm going to have to actually play through this Premier League season for us to actually stand a chance of staying in the league. If I go ahead and give it to the assistant manager, he's not going to do a very good job. Looking at the past winners of the Premier League in the last 3 years, Arsenal has won it 3 times in a row. That's something that hasn't happened in real life yet. So they've won it in 2028, 2029 and 2030. Liverpool were the last winners before Arsenal took over and became dominant. And funny enough, I have a game coming up against Arsenal next. I don't know how to feel about that game, to be honest. Okay, I zoned out after they scored the 4th goal, but I think we got to go back in the 8th minute, and that was fine. But it was a really tough game to actually watch. Arsenal are one of the strongest teams in this particular save, and it was really exhausting to actually play the match. I think I made a mistake starting with the balanced mentality, and when I moved on to defensive is when we were able to only concede 1 goal and we were able to get 1 goal back. So I think I'm going to just stick to defensive mentality for my away games, and then for my home games I'm going to go with the balanced mentality. We'll see how that actually goes throughout the season, and since I'm planning to play the entire season, it might help us knowing that my assistant manager is not the one in charge of those games. So let's see how the season goes from here. So we're here towards the end of February and we just got a massive win against Liverpool. Our next game is against Middlesbrough, but let's just look at that Liverpool game. To be honest, I did go on to start with a very simple tactic for this one, so no OP stuff. I started off with an attacking mentality and we did go on to get the first 2 goals. In fact, we scored the first goal in the first half just before the hour mark, and late into the second half we got our 2nd goal of the game. Well, trusting Liverpool as a top team as they are, they did go on to get 1 back from Darwin Núñez in the 86th minute, but we did enough to actually hold on to the game. And why we were able to hold on was because I switched from an attacking mentality in the second half to play with a cautious mentality, and it was able to allow us to see it through the entire game. We did go on to switch to defensive at some point. You can see our possession, we had only 42% possession, but even then Liverpool was still able to get a goal back. But I think going defensive and then ultra defensive, and even with that cautious mentality, it just helped us stay in the game and go ahead and get all 3 points. Now this is one of these sweet moments, and before this Liverpool game we actually ended up having a losing streak. So you can see here just real quick that Portsmouth ends a 6-match winless run. So before we actually went on to beat Liverpool, we were losing games on a stretch. So we did get a draw against Manchester United 0-0, and Hull City, I did expect that we were going to win that game, but surprisingly it's almost like they defended against us, so we couldn't really attack them and score. They ended up winning the game 1-0. We lost to Brighton, Leicester and then Chelsea. A tough run of fixtures coming up there, as you can see, and then Liverpool at the end. We ended up winning 2-1 against Liverpool. So we have a few games to go now. Middlesbrough, Tottenham and Man City are next on the list, and then some other games coming up as well. Looking at the league table as it is now, it's 23rd of February, and you can see all the way down we're currently in 14th place. We've lost 16 times, minus 19 goal difference, so we have 10 more points to get to 40 points, and then I feel at 40 points we're probably safe in the Premier League, and then we can worry about, you know, being a settled Premier League club. But as it is right now, we've gone on to make some transfers as well. If you look at our transfer history, we've been able to get some players in for about 17 million. One of them was at centre half, Amaro Nalo. We got him from Bournemouth, to be honest, 6'2" centre half. We got him in on a free transfer, and that's actually quite good. But then the other players, we ended up signing them, like our attacking inside forward. His name is Boateng in the game for some reason, but here is Enoch Ajayi, and then he's a very, very good player. Not very good at finishing. So he's just one of those players that we have in our team that can actually help us. We also have Thierry Pilkington, which is our fullback, and he is here on the left hand side, and he's a player that we got from Liverpool. I've tried to get some players out the door, those players that I felt were not good enough, but nobody really wants them, so we ended up selling them out on a free transfer. So for now, that's where we are. But what I'm most proud of is our youth academy. If you look at the development center, we have some 5-star players coming through. And if you look at the under 18 team, a lot of them are players that can actually get into the first team at some point. So this could help us in the future if we go ahead to continue to save. Most of them are 5-star players, and I think this is down to the head of youth development and director of football that we have. Quite good players coming in from the youth academy right now. So a lot of them are 5-star players coming in from Portsmouth. And if you look at our club info, we've come a long way from where we were in League One. Exceptional youth recruitment at 20, exceptional youth coaching and academy at 20, and then youth facilities are 16 and 18 for training facilities. So we're doing quite well. Everything is turning out good. We're now a rich club. Surprisingly, our reputation is now 3.5 star. So as much as we're in the Premier League, we've developed our reputation, we've become one of the top dogs. All we have to do now is actually stay in the Premier League and don't get dragged into any relegation battle, and we should be fine. So it's going good as it is right now. We've come a long way from the suffering that we're suffering before. So it's quite good just to stay in the Premier League and be one of the top teams. So we'll see at the end of the season, okay? So we're now at the end of the Premier League season with Portsmouth, and by the skin of our teeth, we've been able to actually survive. It was a tough season altogether, but then if you look at the points tally, we finished in 14th place, having minus 19 19 goal difference, and we have 42 points right now. We finished just above Brentford that somehow qualified for the UEFA Europa Conference League. How did they manage to do that? So if we just go back to Brentford and, okay, not here, maybe competitions, add about to competitions and FA Cup, okay, Carabao Cup, maybe they won the Carabao Cup. Okay, yeah, they won the Carabao Cup on penalties against Chelsea. That is an interesting prospect. And if you look at our schedule throughout the season, and our last game of the season went on to beat Norwich 2-1. We did lose to Southampton, but I think they survived as well. We got a draw against Newcastle, we beat West Ham, but notice Brentford, we actually beat Brentford 4-1, and this was the season, or this was the game where I feel got us cemented as Premier League team, and we actually survived after beating Brentford. All through the remaining, I didn't really bother anymore because I felt we were safe after winning Brentford. We did get a win against West Ham, and this was another big one, and at this point I was already zoning out, so I was pretty happy to actually go ahead and beat Norwich. And if you look at the club vision now, you see that we've actually been able to achieve everything that the board is asking of us, and that is because I actually switched to play an attacking mentality towards the ending of the season. And even against Brentford, the game we beat them 4-1, I actually started with an attacking mentality. We're also trying to adopt this possession-based style of play, so everything is looking green in the board aspect and make sure everybody's happy in that category. Looking at the tactic that we went on to use against Brentford on that day, this is the system that we went on to use. This is what we used throughout the beginning of the season, to be honest. Most of the overpowered tactics are on the side. It wasn't really helping us because we're overly exposed at the back, so I went for something very simple. Even though ball play defenders are in there, not a lot of instructions and just basic wingers. Okay, one inside forward. Usually it's supposed to be two wingers, but because Abu Kamara is here now, that's why I have it on inside forward. Normally it's Longman, Ryan Longman in this position here, and he plays as a winger on support duty. So that's what we've been able to do. But if you look at our development center, like I showed you before, everything is going really well. All these players are almost on 5-star. Most of them are like top players that are coming through, especially Tom Callahan. I'm figuring out that if I go ahead to continue the save, I'm going to want to build my team around him. He's a ball winning midfielder that can play on defend duty. He could improve his marking and everything, but he's also very pacey and has a lot of work rate. So he's the kind of player that I can have as a DM, that is a ball winning midfielder kind of DM. I rarely do that in this particular year's game, but it's something I could work on and try to build the team around him. We also have another player here, Adam Shannon. Very good aggression, very good center back. He's also, okay, 5'10" is a problem for me. I don't know, he could actually increase in height since he's 16 years old, but that's another thing that you can actually look forward to doing. A couple of other players that are in there, players that I could look to build the team around, because we're not planning to spend that much money, but altogether the save is complete and we've been able to secure Portsmouth's Premier League status and keep them as a Premier League club for the following season. So that is a wrap for this particular rebuild. It's a huge success. So I'm working on a new channel membership at this point, and I'm going to go ahead and attach the Football Manager save for this Portsmouth save in case you want to go ahead and continue with the save and then see how far you can take Portsmouth after I've finished rebuilding the team and keeping them as a Premier League club. You can go ahead and have that as a channel membership. It's part of the membership features. I'm new to membership on YouTube, so I will go ahead and study how it works and then share you a lot more information about how you can go ahead and grab the save for yourself in the video description down below. So thank you for sticking around. It was an exciting journey. I will look to rebuild more clubs on Football Manager, so if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel and then stay in touch so you can get more and you can get notified when more of those videos do come out. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.